Hi, my name is Schyler Church. I am a California real estate broker as well as a member of the education department at Accredited Real Estate Schools. We provide the course requirements to be eligible to take the state exam in California, but also varying levels of preparation to help you make sure you're prepared to pass that state test. One of the tools we use is practice questions. And so today we're going to go through a few of the practice questions. If you like this program though, make sure to check out our Your Access to our database program. It's over 3,600 questions. You have a year access to it, and right now it's $50. So I have that link below. If you also need courses or want to check out our other preparation though, make sure to look at our website, and that has a lot of info. But let's get to it and start with question number 1. In the event a buyer of a single-family owner-occupied residence defaults under a purchase contract in which both parties had initialed the liquidated damages clause, the maximum the seller can retain would be A, nothing, B, 50% of the deposit not to exceed 2.5% of the purchase price, C, 3% of the purchase price not to exceed the amount of deposit, D, the entire deposit regardless of the amount. Well, what do we know here in California? Well, if the liquidated damages clause is initialed by both parties in a contract of a 1 to 4 unit residential property in California, then liquidated damages is limited of 3% of the purchase price not to exceed the earnest money deposit. So basically it is whichever's lower, the earnest money deposit or 3% of the purchase price. Whichever is lower is the one then that is the maximum that the seller can retain, because remember, liquidated damages is the amount, it's a predetermined amount that the seller can keep if the buyer were to breach the contract. And in California, it's 3% of the purchase price not to exceed the amount of deposit, and that's the maximum the seller can retain. And that's only if, remember, the liquidated damages clause is initialed by both parties, so it's been implemented. And in California, that is the correct answer for a single-family owner-occupied residence when liquidated damages applies. 2. Abel paid a property owner $100 as consideration for an option to purchase a property. The option contained a clause stating that the option was to be for a duration of 60 days from June 1st, 2020, and upon exercising the option, the holder is to purchase the property for all cash within 30 days thereafter. On July 10th, 2020, Abel sold and assigned his option for $1,000. On July 28th, 2020, the new holder of the option notified the owner that he would purchase on August 15th, 2020. The owner claimed the option was void. Which of the following is true? A, the option was invalid. B, the option was illegal. C, the option was valid and the assignee could purchase the property on August 15th, 2020. D, none of the above. Well, let's dissect the question. So Abel paid a property owner $100 as consideration for an option to purchase a property. As you remember, an option is just like an open offer to purchase the property. Yeah, that was my cat. I'm sorry. Keeping things interesting here. She wanted to join in. So $100 for consideration for an option to purchase a property. But the option had a clause stating that the option was to be for a duration of only 60 days starting on June 1st, 2020. And upon exercising the option, the holder is to purchase the property for all cash within 30 days thereafter. So they have 60 days to exercise the option, but then after that, if they do exercise the option, they then have to pay within 30 days all cash to purchase the property. Well, on July 10th of 2020, so that's about 40 days in, Abel sold and assigned his option for $1,000 to someone else. Well, so Abel is the assignor, and there's an assignee now. Well, the assignee on July 28th, 2020, notified the property owner that he would purchase the property on August 15th, 2020. Now, the owner is saying that this is void. Well, what is actually true? Well, the option can be assigned. And it would be void though if it is exercised after the 60-day mark of June 1st. July 28th though falls within the 60-day mark, and that is then a valid option, and the assignee is then able to then, as long as they close it within 30 days, so August 15th falls within the 30 days of the option being exercised and does so with cash, then the property owner needs to hold up their end of the option. And so the correct answer option is the option was valid and the assignee could purchase the property on August 15th, 2020. That is the correct answer. 3, appraisal value takes into consideration A, physical characteristics, time and location, B, physical characteristics, time and loan, C, physical characteristics, time and depreciation, D, none of the above are correct. Well, let's look at here. We're talking about appraisal value. Remember, there's a lot that goes into a value. There are a lot of perspectives on it and a lot of definitions to value. We're talking about from an appraisal perspective though. So what does the appraiser take into consideration? I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm not going to really do a ton of editing on this video, so you're probably hearing my dog in the background as well as my cat. You're just getting the full experience from the Schyler household today. So let's get to the question though. So, well, as you can see, there is a common denominator of physical characteristics and time. We first need to figure out, are those two correct? Otherwise, it would be none of the above. Well, physical characteristics, that definitely is taken into consideration when valuing a property. When looking at value of a property, physical characteristics, what the property looks like, what it consists of, the condition of it, that's all taken into consideration for value. As well as market timing, so the time, that is taken into consideration. How's the supply and demand? What's the market like? And that's really important when looking at value. And then also location. Let's talk about that because location, loan, and depreciation, those are the three that then that's basically differentiate the answer options. Location, yes. Location you should always think about. That is really, really important for a property. A value. If a property is right next to an airport where there's a lot of sound and a lot of noise versus a property that is really quiet and secluded, that of course is going to take into consideration that. And that's also taking into consideration economic obsolescence there too. Well, loan, no. A value doesn't take into consideration what was used for financing purposes to procure the property, so acquire the property originally, or for a new purchase as well. That doesn't matter. So the financing versus all cash does not take into consideration. And then we have depreciation. So depreciation is actually, it could be looked at from an appraisal standpoint or also from a tax perspective with the IRS that lets us take a paperwork loss. But if we're looking at it from an appraisal standpoint, yes, depreciation is taken into consideration as well. So from looking at it from a physical deterioration, functional obsolescence, and economic obsolescence standpoint. However, so looking at that, we can eliminate B and D. A and C are the better answers. Which one, though, is the best answer? Well, the best answer is physical characteristics, time, and location. Why is that the better and the best answer? Well, these three take into consideration it takes into consideration the physical deterioration, the functional obsolescence within the physical characteristics, as well as time and location. That location takes into consideration the economic obsolescence part of it. So that is the better answer. And then also location takes into consideration a lot of other aspects as well of what it is in the market, socioeconomics. It takes into a lot more into consideration than just depreciation. So if that A was not an answer option, C would be the better one. But because A is an answer option, that is the best answer. And as you can tell, this state exam, as you know, there's always usually maybe 2 good answers. You just have to figure out which one's the better, best answer. And that's where hopefully these questions and practice tools are helping you with your studies. Question number 4. As a matter of practice, the escrow holder is authorized to A, order the termite inspection and authorize any corrective repairs to be made. B, advise buyers on best financing available in the marketplace. C, amend the commission instruction form at the request of the listing broker. D, call for funding of buyer's loan. Well, what can an escrow holder, escrow officer, escrow agent, what can they do? Well, let's go through and do process of elimination and figure out what is the best answer. So looking at A, order the termite inspection and authorize any corrective repairs to be made. No, an agent can order the inspection on behalf of one of the principals of the transaction, but any corrective repairs that need to be made, they need to be agreed upon by the seller, and then also, for instance, the buyer too. They just need to be agreed upon, ultimately needs to be agreed upon by the seller, and that then needs to be ordered by the seller or the agent on behalf of the seller. Or if the buyer was wanting to pay for it ahead of time, which is not recommended, or the agent on behalf of the buyer. So the escrow officer does not deal with that. A is not the correct answer. Then we have B, advise buyers on best financing available in the marketplace. Escrow holders, escrow officers, they are just an independent third party, a neutral party that assists with satisfying the terms of the agreement. So they help on getting the transaction to come to perfection, to close. That's what they do. They're an independent third party. Due to that, they do not deal with actually assisting a buyer in finding what's the best financing for them. They are not a loan officer. They are an escrow officer. They only assist with getting everything together for the transaction to satisfy the terms. So they're that neutral third party. The loan officers, they're the ones that will assist the buyers on finding the best loan for them, the best financing option in the programs available to them in the marketplace, and they are licensed to do so. Escrow officers are not. They cannot help you find your financing. You have to come in with the financing to escrow already in place. C, amend the commission instruction form at the request of the listing broker. No, they cannot amend it. The listing broker has to submit a new commission, what we call it, a broker demand to escrow. They cannot amend it on behalf of the listing broker. That is not something that they can do. The listing broker, with anything that deals with the commissions, whether it's being a decrease in the commission or how much the commission is going to be, or how the commission is being dispersed or distributed, that has to come directly from the agent. It cannot be amended by the escrow holder. So based off of process of elimination, A, B, and C are incorrect, but let's verify that D is correct. Can the escrow officer call for funding of a buyer's loan? Yes. The escrow holder can contact the loan officer to then get the funding of that loan. They are not actually the one doing the work to get it funded, but they can call for it to be funded to then for those funds to be sent to escrow. So that is something that they can do. So the correct answer is D, call for funding of buyer's loan. That is something that the escrow holder is authorized to do as a matter of practice. 5, when a buyer receives a commitment from a lender to provide funds if needed by the buyer, this is called A, construction loan, B, standby loan, C, FHA loan, D, VA loan. Well, it's kind of just a definition with the term. Well, you need to know what the term is. So what is it called when a buyer receives commitment from a lender to provide the funds if needed by the buyer. So this is being like funds will be provided on demand of the buyer. They've already received approval and the commitment from the lender. They just haven't received the funds in hand, but they can at a later date when the buyer demands so. What is this called? It's called a standby loan. The loan is on standby, ready to go, ready to be funded to that buyer on demand or when it's called to do so. It's not a construction loan. It's not an FHA loan. Remember, FHA, they just insure loans. VA, the Veterans Administration, doesn't deal with that. This is a standby loan. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful in your licensing journey and your studies. If you liked it, make sure to give us a big thumbs up as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel so we keep producing new content. But if you have any questions or if you'd like to check us out for completing coursework to be eligible to take the state exam or even for preparation to help you prepare for the state test, we have tons of options and I have our website listed below. Otherwise, I'm Schyler with Accredited Real Estate Schools and thanks for watching.